everyone, I'm Jennifer Quick with Soul Clarity Coaching. Tonight's presentation is going to be on Unlock the Heart of Transformation. I am really excited to be delivering this information. This is the heart and soul of everything I do. It builds from here, and it has transformed so many lives that I've worked with. It is the number one workshop that I've ever done. So now I'm giving you a presentation on it. So tonight's talk, just so you know, we're going to be talking about the heart, but we're going to go so much further than that. A lot of people talk about the heart and the heart chakra and opening it up and how important it is, which it is really important. But very few talk about the biology of the heart, how it affects the body, and how we can actually use the heart to create the lives that we want to be living. So if you have dreams, you have goals, you have a vision for your life, or you just simply want a happier life, this is the workshop for you. Anyhow, let's start digging in. All right. So I'll start with, do you struggle with overwhelm, anxiety, depression, negative thinking? Do you have sleeping problems, maybe racing thoughts, emotional roller coaster? Or how about communication problems and memory problems? All of these I've suffered with in my life, and what I'm going to teach you tonight is how I transformed it. Do you have trouble making decisions, attracting a romantic partner, have unhealthy family relationships? Maybe you have unfulfilled needs. Are you lonely? Do you worry a lot? These are all things that we can transform just through tonight's information. Are you unhappy with your job? Are you struggling with your career? Have you been passed over for promotions? Do you feel stuck? Do you feel lack of motivation? Do you feel unwanted? Again, these are all things that we can learn to let go through what I'm going to teach you tonight. And finally, one of the complaints that I most recently got from a client is that their heart was just tired. That's how they explained it. It's just their heart was tired. They were too exhausted in the heart from feeling so much. And this work that I'm going to show you tonight, if that's how you're feeling, this is going to help you with it. This is actually going to transform it for you. It's going to go beyond that. So that's all the negative stuff that's going to clean up in your life. It's also, the work that I'm going to show you tonight and working through the heart actually increases our cognitive abilities. It means we think better. It helps us be more creative. It helps us make decisions with clarity and with confidence. It also helps us experience more joy and more love in our lives. Who doesn't want more love and joy in our life? I know I do, all the time. So this is how we bring it in. It can also give us more energy, and it can build resilience. We can actually feel younger. And as a matter of fact, when I go into the science of this information I'm teaching you tonight actually makes your body younger. It builds an immune system, and it extends on your telomeres. And those are your life. That's what determines it. Telomeres are these little tags that are on the end of your DNA. And as we go through life and we live, we worry, we have toxic emotions, we have toxic food, things like that in our environment, our telomeres actually reduce. And when we run out of the little ends on the telomeres, then that's how we age. And this particular science that I'm working with today reverses that. Not only does it stop it, but it actually reverses that. So that's kind of exciting. You can get younger from this information. You can also passionately be in love. I don't care what your relationship status is right now. You are, and I don't care how old you are. I don't care how big you are or small you are or successful or anything else. You, exactly how you are right now, are perfectly capable of having a very rich, passionate life. And this is the key to getting that. You can also, many of us that are watching this, many of us that are participating in this event, all have this desire to change the world, to leave an impact on the world, to have a message for the world. And sometimes, the world is kind of a big statement, right? 8 billion people, that's a big statement. But even having that impact on our own family, on our friends, on our children, on our spouses, we have messages that we want to get out there. And this work will help you get those messages out with clarity. All right. They'll help you get those messages not only out of you with clarity, but it'll also help it land with those who hear it. One of the biggest joys I get in my life is that I have people I run into people in the street, I'll run into them at events. I was in Vancouver at a hotel, and in the morning getting my coffee, I had a group of people come up to me and express to me how much I had changed their life just from watching the material that I'm going to share with you tonight. And then I have clients and I have different people that come back in my life all the time telling me how much I've changed their life through this information. I also have people that I work with that I truly admire in the work that they're spreading out in the world and how much they help others. And they'll come back and refer to me and the information that I'm giving you tonight. So this is really impactful information. And if you got a message for the world, this is really going to help you get it out there. And this will touch on a little bit of how you can help your loved ones feel better as well. And I'll also tell you how we can expand on that towards the end of it. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And I hope all of that kind of excites you. It takes me a little bit to kind of get into these workshops. So if I sound a little dry right now, it will get better. Anyhow, let's dive in here a little bit. First, I want to tell you I want to tell you a little bit about my story, how I ended up here, and what my influences and things are. So I did a talk earlier in June with the Spirit Forum, and you'll find that in the guides. It was talking about the 5D world. It actually read very cosmic. And if you listen to that talk, you'll understand that I actually deal with an entire world that most people don't. I do talk to spirits. I see things that other people don't. I feel things that other people don't. I'm in and out of the Akashic records on a regular basis. I have a whole cosmic story that goes on that I channel for people. So I have this very open to the other side kind of world that I work in. And I've been like that since the day I was born. As long as I can remember, I have worked with entities, energies, people that others don't see. So as a child, they refer to it as our imagination. So I want to tell you, don't discard anything that is just imagination. There's no such thing as just imagination. The most powerful and incredible innovations in our entire growth of humanity have all come from the inspiration of imagination. So don't discount your imagination. It's actually a very real world. But what I want to tell you is that when I was a kid, I was always very, very active in my imaginary world. I talked to people who others didn't see on a regular basis. I interacted with them. I communicated with animals. I communicated with plants. I communicated with my environment. Again, what others didn't see. And when you're really little, most people don't understand what you're doing. And then as you grow up, it's just considered an imaginary friend or imagination, explorations, things like that. But eventually, you kind of start realizing that what you're experiencing and what the rest of the world is experiencing aren't the same. And people start to look at you funny. And you start to come to a realization that maybe I shouldn't be mentioning this. Maybe I should be keeping some of this to yourself. And that happened to me really strongly. I grew up really, really close to my grandmother, and she was schizophrenic. As a matter of fact, later in my life, when I got into learning how to read the Akashic records and I could find out what was going on with her when she was in this life, I discovered she actually had 12 different personalities that she was living through. And I can remember talking to those 12 personalities when I was a kid. I had really bizarre conversations with her, and it was like a different person all the time. And I remember seeing her shift through all these different personalities. And of course, she had a lot of hallucinations. She had a lot of fears. It was not uncommon to have conversations about fires and disasters and death and purgatory and religious concepts and all sorts of different things. And again, these are conversations I had at like 5, 6, 7, 8, and all the way up growing up. It was kind of an unusual thing. But what I came to realize is that not only do I have this active imaginary world that I interact with, but so does my grandmother. She has this whole world that nobody else is seeing, and her world is scary. Mine is full of fairies and butterflies that talk and spirits from the other side that are my spirit guides and my loved ones. And I have this really happy soul family that I communicate with. But grandma's, hers was dark. She was dealing with her hallucinations, her imaginary world was kind of scary. And it was an issue in our family. We dealt with the mental health. There was medications involved. There was family strategies involved. It was definitely a family project to care for grandma. And at the same time, I will say that I was very, very lucky. Out of everybody in the family, I got the best of my grandmother. She taught me to garden. She taught me about classical music. She taught me it's all the wonderful things that grandmothers taught you. So anyhow, I'm not going to go into that, but I did get the best of her, and that was an amazing, amazing gift to me. But as a kid, I'm like, my imaginary world that nobody else has seen, and grandma's imaginary world that nobody else has seen. And so what it ended up doing to me is going, I really got to keep my imaginary world quiet. I can't let other people in on what I'm experiencing. I shut it down as much as I could. As well, I was in my grandmother's world a lot, and grandmother's world was very dark, very dark, which had very dark entities in it as well. So that whole line that I walked through the valley of darkness, I kind of felt like I grew up in the valley of darkness sometimes, right? And then I had this other light world. So anyhow, growing up, I learned to suppress my abilities, and I learned to hide them. I didn't talk about my great grandmother when she came to me after she had died. I didn't tell people about how many times she actually came to visit me, how many conversations I had with her. I didn't tell her about anybody about my spirit guides. I didn't tell anybody about the things that I channeled through, and they kept happening throughout my life. And it was sort of something I kept very privately. Anyhow, I wrote that world with these two different things going on. Keeping that side of myself very quiet. Now, my husband, when I met him, it was a soul experience for me. And he thankfully made the world a little safe, gave me a safe world where I could talk to him about a lot of what I was going through. But it wasn't until much later, after I had my kids, that it became a priority for me to start really understanding what was happening. My kids are gifted as well, and helping them navigate, as well as what was going on with me through pregnancy and having children and all of that we go through with the hormonal changes and stuff like, and the different stresses in our life. I really felt this breaking point push to figure out what was happening and to make sense out of it. And that was kind of the birth of everything. So when I felt like I was at my end of the rope, and I really felt I was losing my mind, I was looking for anything to help me out of the hole that I had gotten into. That was 2007, and it was when I discovered Reiki. And I took Reiki, and that was like somebody threw me a lifeline. And so from starting with Reiki, it led into more Reiki. As I'll tell you later on, I am actually quite studied in Reiki. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But it led me to that. It led me to the Akashic records. I learned how to do soul realignment. I fell in love with it. And I just did everything to do with soul realignment, that entire modality under Andrea Hess. I love her to death. I think she's amazing. I studied her incredibly. I also studied under other practitioners with the Akashic records and learned how to walk that life. And clients started coming to me, and then my world built from there. And onwards, that's kind of my story. I learned how to amalgamate the two worlds that I lived, and they became one world. That the grounding aspect for me that gave me the clarity was my study of science. So I'm just going to hold on here. So I'll just tell you a little bit of my spiritual path, because it was such a huge transformation for me. It was how I had to find my way to living more real. And that's what I could say is, before I discovered Reiki, it was like I lived in two worlds. One was supposed to be this practical, real world that felt extremely uncomfortable, and I didn't really understand. And I was always trying to fit. It was like I put on a mask every day and trying to fit into a box that somebody else designed for me. That was supposed to be my life, and I was supposed to be, fulfilled and happy with this. And I wasn't. It felt like a cold, dead world to me. It just didn't fit. But my imaginary world, that lit me up and made me feel wonderful. And that was what allowed me to cope with masking into this other world. So the pursuit of understanding the imaginary world was actually what drove me forward once I got Reiki. And it started grounding the energy. So my studies included, I'm a Holy Fire 3 Usui Reiki Master Teacher, and a Karuna Reiki Master Teacher. I did originate in Usui Tibetan, and then I've upgraded over the years. I love everything to do with Reiki. I also have Angelic Reiki, and I think I have an Atlantic Lemurian and a few other numerous different studies of Reiki. It's an incredibly powerful modality, and I love teaching it. And so that's that. I also Soul Realignment, which I mentioned, and I've done pretty much everything she's ever put out under the Soul Realignment hat. I find it incredibly powerful and so logical, really, really logical. She's one of my, Andrea Hess, who did the Soul Realignment, is a huge inspiration for me. And then there's another lady, and I'm terrible with her name. It's Dr. Shakayada Modi. Modi is the last name, and her series of books, she works with hypnosis, and she's a psychiatrist. Her work on human history has been life-altering understandings for me as well. Huge influences in the Akashic area. So Akashic Records Practitioner, I became Akashic Business and Marketing Practitioner, Ad Heart Facilitator. So I did studies through the HeartMath Institute, which I'll talk about in a minute. A lot of what I'm going to teach you tonight is based in HeartMath. But it is taking it further than that. I'm also trained as a neuro-linguistic program practitioner. So that's the study of, well, it's kind of the study of how, our neurological and our linguistic come together and how we actually communicate and function in the world. Quite powerful. I work with the emotion code. I work as an advanced life coach. Angelic Reiki Master, I mentioned that. A mindfulness trainer. I'm a timeline therapy practitioner, hypnosis therapy, certified events. Oh, I did that one. Sacred money archetype coach. And I've done, actually, finance is a big one for me. I've done numerous financial studies as well. I'm currently actually taking a stock market course at the moment. And I have a money coaching program that I work with people on a year round. It's a wonderful mastermind if anybody's interested in that. And then a manifesting blueprint practitioner. Those are sort of the highlights of my studies that got me to where I am. My greatest influences and where the research for this work comes from is the HeartMath Institute, epigenetic research, Harvard happiness studies. A lot of universities have happiness departments now, and I really love the information that Harvard is putting out on studying what makes people happy. You can actually find on my website, in some of my material, you'll find the 4 pillars of happiness. I often talk about them. That's a good one to look up. I work with the Metamorphosis Research Institute. I like to watch what's going on with them. That is the scientific study that Joe Dispenza started. He started that program, or that research facility. And I think a few of you might know about Joe Dispenza. Again, his work is based on a lot of what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Parapsychology is another one that I study, and the study of psychic phenomena, as well as religious studies. All religions. I tend to lean towards Tibetan Buddhism, but all religions are fascinating to me. My influences are like Greg Braden, Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Andrea Hess, Tony Robbins, Dr. Amen, Dr. Christine Northrup, Dr. Bradley Nelson, Susie Orman, Kendall Summerhawk, Stuart Wilde, and the list goes on. But those were some of the highlights. And I just wanted to give you that information to know that I am blending a real esoteric understanding with a very science-based quantum physics, epigenetic, like biological functioning to bring you what I'm teaching you tonight. So that's why I went through this whole list to give you an idea of who I am, where I come from, and where this information that I'm sharing with you tonight comes from. So let's dive into this a little bit. So all right, now let's dive in. The start of this is the key points that I want to start working through here is to understand that we are all made of energy. I think we all know that. That's pretty basic knowledge nowadays. We all understand that we're energy, our souls, right? Most of us have the perspective, or coming to the perspective, that our souls are not inside our body. They're actually, our bodies are inside our soul. That's a big difference. And it's something that when you understand and really comprehend the difference of being a physical body inside of a soul versus a soul inside the body, it can really expand us into understanding the energy field that we're interacting with. Our auric fields has been measured scientifically. They have measured it, and it ranges on average between 15 feet from the body to 45 feet from the body. And it can even go extend further, but the measuring is a little harder past that. For a healthy auric field, generally we're somewhere around the 30 feet from the body. That's just the part of your soul that is here having your human experience. That auric field that we call it, which is part of our soul, this human body that's within that auric field, is actually a small portion of your bigger soul that exists in the fifth dimension, in the higher realms. Again, if you want to understand more of that, you can check out the last talk that I did with the Spirit Growth Forum. And I'll be putting that up on my YouTube channel as well. But anyhow, I want to go back to this. So we are made of energy. That energetic field is all, and everything to do with energy, is all about vibration and frequency. Right? In our biological body, the density of our human body has great impact. The entire reason that we are here in the earth dimension in a third dimensional form is to learn how to be divine creators. And when I say learn, it's about practicing being a creator, because it is impossible for us not to create. Even if you sit on the couch and do absolutely nothing, you are still actually creating. Isn't that kind of an odd thought? But it's true. We are always creating. In every single moment, we are creating. It's a matter of whether we're doing it consciously or unconsciously. So, and we are creating through frequency and vibration. Now, frequency is determined by our brain. Vibration is determined by our heart. And these are key points that we're going to dig deeper into. Our brain sets the frequency. That's the image that we put out into the cosmos. We put it out into that greater energetic field that surrounds us all around the earth, everywhere. All that energy. Energy can never be destroyed. It's everywhere, right? And so there's this huge pool or ocean around us all the time of energy. And our mind is putting out like a beacon, a frequency. So we're like think of it like a radar antenna that's just throwing out this frequency. Well, the heart, think about it, the heart is literally physically beating inside of our body in a rhythm. What is rhythm? What is beating? Think of a drum beating on something. It's vibration. Our heart is literally setting the vibration of what our entire existence is. So whatever in the vibration is what connects us to the frequency. It pulls towards us the energy that aligns to our frequency, which is set by the vibration that we hold. I hope everybody's with me. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment thing. I'm going to try and access that as much as I can. It's a little bit funky here. So there's a chat on the side, I believe. And if you want to put any comments in there, I'm happy to review and go over anything with that maybe is unclear. I'm also, and I'll keep an eye on this video, and you can always send me messages through here, and I'll try and stay on top and answer any questions. So hopefully you understand everything up to point. Now, what I want to tell you is that most people think that we create our worlds from our mind, but we don't. We actually create it from the vibration. That is truly how we manifest what is around us. There is, depending on the study that you could look at, there is anywhere from 2 to 4 times the amount of information coming into and being processed by the heart, sent to the brain. So from the information going from the heart to the brain, 2 to 4 times as much than there is the brain going out to any other part of the body, including the heart. That's a real big aha understanding. The heart has brain cells in it. It speaks a different language than the brain, but it is actually processing more information, 2 to 4 times as much information as the brain. Our heart is vibrating and resonating with everything around us. What that vibration has created, it is in perfect harmony with all the circumstances that make up your life. Your heart vibration is in perfect resonance with your job, with your home, with your relationships, with your self-identity, with that couch that you hate or love, whichever it be, with the dishes in your kitchen, the food in your kitchen. Everything that is in your life is perfectly harmonized in resonance with your heart. So you can think as much as you want, but if you're not changing the vibration of your heart, nothing in your world is going to manifest in a different way. In order to manifest something different, in order to change your circumstances, you have to change the vibration in your heart. Stress, fear, worry, negative thoughts, and negative emotions all push us into our mind. Our world, our daily world that we operate in, is designed, whether on purpose or not, that's for debate, but it is designed around us. The lives that we are living in our society is designed to push us out of our heart and into our head. And when we are working out of our mind and not from the heart, our entire energy field constricts. The mind actually constricts its blood flow into necessity. Our energy goes, our blood flow energy, everything goes into our limbs and into our adrenaline system, right? Causing us to move into that fear and fear, fight, or flight mode. That's what it's designed to do. That's what happens when we're in the mind. But when we learn how to move down into the heart, now the heart is full of love, compassion, gratitude, appreciation, caring, joy. That all moves us into the heart. And when we're operating from the heart, that's what we're operating in. Hope everybody's following with me. So now I want to go with the heart. So that is why I say this is the heart of transformation. If you want to transform your life, you need to figure out how to get into your heart, and you need to learn how to operate your heart and operate from the heart. Okay. And truly, when you learn how to do that, the whole world lights up. So I'm just checking here because I do have notes. Okay. So I want to talk about what happens when we get into our heart. When we get out of our head and we start operating from our heart, our entire body lights up. Energy flows through our bodies, through all of our bodies. So all that energy that was driving out to our limbs now comes into our organs and it starts healing. Our bodies are designed for self-healing. And this is how we do it. We have to bring the energy into balance and flow within our body, which is done through the heart. 1,400 biological reactions start firing once you get into your heart. And you harmonize, and here's the key. Here's the second key. So getting into our heart starts that process, but here is the real key to it. We must coordinate or come into cohesive, is what it says, our brain and our heart. That means the frequency our brain is putting out and the vibration of our heart needs to come into balance. When our brains are projecting a frequency that is out of alignment to what the heart is vibrating at, the two of them, think of it like a rhythm. So both frequency goes up and down, heart vibration goes up and down. And so when your brain is thinking one thing and your heart is dealing with another, they're going at opposite. And it's this chaotic up and down pattern that happens, right? And it's incohesive. They're battling each other, and it's actually causing stress in the body, and it's causing tension, and it's chaos is what it is inside of our system. But when we learn how to coordinate the heart rhythm with the frequency of the brain, we bring the two into harmony, they start going together and they go in balance and they start harmonizing. And when they start harmonizing, this is when calm and peace happens. Yes, the inside state actually can go into relaxation and recovery and start rebuilding itself, but it also becomes great power. When you have one drum going, it's a soft beat. But when you have multiple drums going, it's a much louder and steadier and stronger vibrational beat. Well, your brain and your heart in balance together becomes a stronger beat, a stronger vibration that's coming out. It strengthens both the frequency and the vibration. So bringing them into harmony with each other is really at the core of everything. That's how we can really transform our lives. So I'm going to go the heart of transformation cycle. Right? There's an entire cycle to this, and this is how the whole thing works. So the first thing is we have breathing. Breathing sets the rhythm of our bodies and its communication to our bodies, and we can actually take control of it. And it's one of the biggest factors we have for controlling the physical state of our body. When we breathe in deep down into our lower solar plex and we breathe out for longer than we breathe in, we tell our entire system that we are safe. And it tells our system it can relax. And it transforms us after through that breathing, we can pull our body into a safe place. And so the system can relax. The blood flow will increase. So now when the blood flow increases, the heart rhythm starts to calm and get into a balance, right? Sometimes when people first start doing this breathing pattern, their heart races. And they kind of get scared because the heart starts to race. But you stay with the breathing and the heart will come back into balance, right? And that's the heart clearing out the chaos that it was in when you were breathing shallower or more randomly. So this deep breathing tells your body you're safe, and it actually gets your heart to calm down and smooth out its rhythm, right? So that's the first thing. And then the next thing, once we do breathing, we want to take our focus, our awareness down into the heart. So instead of interacting at this level from the mind, and now just even listening to me in this talk, you can see I'm going like this and I'm talking to you from the mind. All right, feel how that feels in your body. And now I'm talking to you from the heart. Can you, just in the observation of me speaking to you, can you feel the difference in the communication? When I talk from this point and I'm up in the head and my focus and awareness is up here, it has a certain feel. But when I drop down into my heart, Yes, my voice tone does change, but it's more than just that. You can actually feel my heart, despite the fact that we're interacting through a computer. We're not even in the same room. If you're in the same room, it's even more impactful because we actually influence each other. But even through this computer, you can feel the difference of when I'm talking to you from up here in my head. Even if I try and keep my voice quiet and I'm interacting from up here, you can still feel the energies up here. And there's a tension to it. There's a different feel to it. But when I talk down here, even if I try and keep my voice at that same enthusiasm that I had when I was up here, it has a different feel. It lands differently. Okay, so that's the difference between having your focus in your brain and the focus in your heart. I'm watching the time. So come on down to the heart. So the breathing is the first step, but now drop your focus to your heart and be aware of your heart. So to be aware of that, if you notice in every kind of religion around the world, they all put their hands to the heart. If you notice whenever you have an intense emotion, your hand goes to your heart. That's an automatic reflex, because when we place our hand to our heart or we go into prayer right to our heart, it helps us bring our awareness down to our heart. So you can put your hand on your heart, you put your fingertips on your heart, and it helps you, and you take your focus and bring it down to the heart. When the thoughts come into your head, let them go. Just come back down to the heart. Okay? Keep the breathing going. Breathe in deep. Exhale, pause. Exhale longer than you breathed in. Pause, and then breathe in again. Right? With your focus where your fingers are touching your heart. Any thoughts come in, just let them go. Don't attach to the story. Don't give them any a mind of attention. Just keep your mind down here. Takes at least 5 minutes for most people, sometimes longer. It can take like 10 to 15 minutes on some people, especially when you're first practicing this. But somewhere in that time frame, you will feel this energetic shift happen in your body where you go from here and all of a sudden there's this calm stillness that enters into you. Even though nothing else has changed, it's just within you. You can feel this state of difference that happens, and you come down into your heart. Now, once you're in your heart, you want to think of something that you care about. It can be anything. It can be a person, it can be an animal, it can be an event, it can be a place, it can be an idea, anything that you care about, an object, doesn't matter. Just something that you care about that evokes in you the feeling of caring. We like to use the word caring instead of love because love has a lot of misunderstandings in it, but it's caring, all right? So evoke the feeling of caring or gratitude or appreciation, all right? A difference between appreciation and gratitude. Appreciation is when you see the value of something. Gratitude is when you appreciate something. Gratitude is when you recognize the value of something and are so thankful for it that you have an urge to give back. So gratitude is like the overflow of it. Appreciation is the recognition of it. So anyhow, a caring, appreciation, gratitude into the heart and feel it. Whatever it takes for you to think of doesn't matter. What matters is the emotion, because your heart speaks in emotion. Energy in motion, heart vibration. Pretty cool, huh? Energy in motion, emotion. Heart that's why it's the language of the heart. Anyhow, so that's what you want to feel it. And now 6 minutes of being in that state where you've got the heart and the brain in balance to each other. That's what happens when this calmness sets in. You'll feel the shift. And then you evoke this feeling of gratitude and appreciation from that moment. Hold that state for 6 minutes. Yeah, 6 minutes. All right. It will last 6 hours. unless something startles you out of it. But in general, the state that's created in your body will last 6 hours. 6 minutes of holding that releases over 1,400 biochemical reactions within your body, increases your cognitive ability, starts building your immune system, fighting off disease, recovering, cancer fighting, disease fighting, all of those mechanisms start coming out, and your body starts healing. Your brain lights up. Okay, when they do these MRI scans and stuff like that, when you move into this state, your entire brain starts lighting up. Your imagination increases. Your thinking processes increase. They do studies that people that take a test without being in that state, and then take the same test while being in that state, the scores skyrocket. Okay. Your happiness, your imagination, your cognitive, your health, your relationships, the interaction you have in your environment, all of that starts to shift. The longer that you hold that state, the more impact it'll have on your life. Right? So that is the first. Now, once you once you get into that state, learning how to hold that state so you can actually walk every day from that heart coherence place. That's how you start manifesting. When you lock your heart emotion into the same frequency as your vision that you want to create, that's how you actually create your life. That's how you manifest. That's how you make transformation. Affirmations, the actual true purpose of affirmations is to help you hold the vision so that it evokes the emotion. What the vision is doesn't matter as much as the emotion that it evokes. There's a few other things that come along when we're working with the heart. There's things like what Dr. Amen coins as ants, which are automatic negative thoughts. And there's ways of he's always calls it killing the ants. Okay. They can come up, and so you kill the ants, but you return down to this state. I want to talk about emotions right now, because emotions are so incredible. What happens when we have an emotion in the heart sends a message to the brain of that emotion, and the brain sends out chemicals throughout the entire body. It sends out a message to all our different organs and nervous system and everything throughout the body, and chemicals are produced throughout the body that are the chemicals of that emotion. The more impact the emotion is on us, so trauma, stress, trauma and stress and pain, right? All of those, when we have that impact of emotion, the burst of information that goes from the heart to the brain is going to be in higher intensity, and same as the burst of messaging that comes from the brain throughout the body is going to be more intense. And the production of chemicals that the body produces of that emotion will become more intense. So that what ends up happening is those emotions will flood your body. If you don't get them out of your body, they get locked and stored within your body. And they can cause ill health, dis-ease as they build up. In the short term, they can make you stiff and uncomfortable, and they build. On top of that, not only do they build up in your body as this toxin, but those emotions, that chemicals, tells all the other parts of your body to tune in to that emotion. So now your entire physical body is tuned to the emotion of stress or trauma or pain or whatever it is, that negative thought, all those things. They're actual chemistry that's stored in our body. So what do we do then? And that's our every bit of our cells in that energy field that is our body is sending out this message that is saying, bring me more pain and trauma. But when we move into this heart brain and we start living by the heart, and we evoke this emotion of what the transformation we want to manifest is, when the heart feels the emotion of the transformation that we're wanting to create, it sends that message to the brain. The brain sends out that chemistry. That chemistry floods through our system. All of our cells now tune to that emotion to create that vision to produce more of that emotion. That's how we manifest. Now, in transition, we need to release the stuck energy in our body, the stuck emotions in our body. And that's how we deal with ants, the automatic negative thoughts. We got to release those. We need to release the trapped emotions, the chemistry, which that is literally biological chemistry. So it's going to come out through the fluids of our body. We are going to either pee it out, we are going to sweat it out, or we're going to cry it out. Right? So all three of those things are actually really, really healthy for our bodies because it's releasing the emotional toxic chemicals of our body. And we need to go through that to make room for the emotions for the vision that we want to create. The visualization helps us create those emotions. The affirmations help us create those emotions, but it's the emotion that is the key. That emotion, we start living our lives from that new emotional state. And that is how the world around us will respond and transform. The people in our lives, if you have toxic relationships, I got to wrap up. If you have relationship toxicity of any kind, by changing your emotional state and the vibration you're putting out, you'll change how you're showing up in that relationship, and that relationship will be forced into transformation. You'll be interacting at a different level with that person. That's how we transform relationships. It will attract different career. It'll attract different opportunities, synchronicities. They all start unfolding at that point. And it picks up speed. So just quickly before I get off, I didn't actually think I would talk this long, but here I am. So there is actually more to this, and I didn't even get into it because now in order to go into that vision, there's a whole technique of how to set that vision and set that emotion and then go into the void of everything to draw it to us even faster. And then there's another way of creating affirmations that actually inspire those emotions. So that's even more of the heart of transformation cycle. But I've given you the basic tools. It's that breathing in, longer out. It's that focus in the heart and evoking the emotion that you want to feel. Start with caring, start with appreciation, start with gratitude. There is on my YouTube channel and my Facebook or YouTube channel and my website. Please go through my website. I've got so many resources on there. There's some great meditations. There's some great information on this type of material. But finally, I want to offer you this 8-week coaching program. I have done the workshop on the heart and brain and manifesting and all of this work I'm talking tonight. I've done that workshop many times in person. It transforms life. It's incredibly powerful, but there is a problem when I do it in person. The problem is that it is a 1-day or a 2-day. And what ends up happening is a week later, you're out of practice and everything you've learned starts drifting away and the old emotions take over. And so I've updated the program with the newest research. I've updated the techniques. I'm digging in deeper, and I am working on it. I have now producing in October 15th, I am hosting a 8-week coaching program, and it's called the Sacred Heart Activation. So we're learning how to activate our lives from the heart. This is an incredibly powerful workshop. So the things that I've gotten. So the 8-week coaching program has increased understanding and digging deeper into the science of what I'm talking about. This is very grounded information. I'm going to do guidance to experience the embodiment of that scientific information. So you will be in full experience with it. I have exercises to transform your beliefs and your illusions. as well as working with the ants and the emotional buildups, all of that. We've got exercises to transform that from our bodies. I've got daily practices for you to do to build on this as you go through. Once you understand this, it actually doesn't take long to manifest the life you want to be living. It's not a big chore. Just the learning process can be a little bit, okay? But once the learning is there, transformation happens quite quickly. We're going to deep dive into our relationships, our families, our health, our careers. We're going to work those visualizations and we're going to transform your life. We're going to align our goals, our visions, our experience, and we're going to create our own system of support. All right. And I've designed this over 8 weeks because by doing this 8 weeks, you're going to work through the challenges of the ego. You're going to work through the challenges of manifesting cycle, of starting new activities. Like by the end of 8 weeks, you're going to be well established in proving how this works in your life. Your life is really going to transform in those 8 weeks. And I'm going to walk that entire 8 weeks holding your hand. It is incredibly powerful. Everything is going to be available for replay. Take these 8 weeks with me. You want to redo those 8 weeks in January on your own, you're going to have the recordings available to you. All right, so this is incredibly powerful. I'm so excited to be offering this. It's called the Sacred Heart Activation. I'll probably rename it one day, but for now, that's what it is. And it's an 8-week coaching program. Please check it out. It's on my website, soulclarity.ca. I am Canadian, so it is a .ca. And that's my talk tonight. I better wrap up because the next person's going to want to get on. I thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you take away from here to practice the breathing. Drop your focus into your heart and evoke that caring, gratitude, and appreciation. My challenge to you is to do it 3 times a day. And just that alone, you will see transformation within a few days. Actually, almost immediately, you will start feeling differently and you'll start having more love and joy come into your life. So please give it a try. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Check out my website, email me, text me, call me, set up a discovery call, whatever. I'd love to talk to you. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I'm going to sign off now. Thank you. Bye-bye.